still crooked. Oh well. Bonjour, bonjour, mon petit chiflet. Amber here, and Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas from me and my Christmas cow. Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, happy belated birthday to me, happy belated Halloween, happy Thanksgiving. One for each month where I was supposed to film this video. Hi, it's the last week of December. New Year's is in like 3-4 days, and I can't keep putting this off. I have been saying for months now that I was going to sit down and film a book haul. Now, I did recently upload my romance book haul because I was, as I explained in that video, I was having a real moment where I was like really living vicariously through these fictional characters, but I've also been buying other books alongside those books, and this really started around my birthday, around the end of summer, beginning of fall, after the summer that kind of like triggered my book buying, and I was intent to do a book haul, like my end of summer birthday book haul, and then I didn't, and I just kept not until today. Here we are, and now I'm forcing myself to do it because I would ideally like to have this up before 2026. So that's what we're here to do today. We are here to just to go through the books I've been buying recently, and I'm gonna be honest with you, a lot of these books have already been read. A lot of these books have been seen and discussed already in the past few months worth of vlogs. That being said, I have not uploaded a vlog since June. They're all filmed. July through, well, December now are all filmed, but I have a problem uploading August through December without July, and all of my content from July is on my hard drive that I'm currently in the process of getting repaired, or getting the files recovered. So while I have talked about these books, you haven't seen them unless you follow me on other places, specifically probably on Instagram, on Bookstagram, or TikTok perhaps. Let me stop talking because I have like 20 books to talk through. The first two, I've been really making my efforts with my classics this year, and these were two that were like top priority for my 2025 TBR: Wuthering Heights and Jane Eyre by Emily Bronte and Charlotte Bronte. I'm obsessed with these covers. I am so obsessed with these covers. It was always intended to get both of these books this year, but so first let's talk about the Penguin Classics Deluxe Editions. These are both, I believe, designed by Ruben Toledo, who was a illustrator, painter, sculptor, and filmmaker. And like, so these are like very like haute couture inspired book covers, and I just look at this. We've got Heathcliff being all creepy. Somehow, for some reason, this specifically reminds me of Lemony Snicket. Like, this would be in one of the series of Unfortunate Events books. Then we have Wuthering Heights. She looks a little like Amanda Seyfried. I'm currently reading, did I say Wuthering Heights? We have Jane Eyre, my bad. It says it right there. And it's even worse because I'm currently reading Jane Eyre. I started it a couple days ago. I'm 60 pages in, so reading is a generous term because this one is a bit more difficult for me. It's requiring more of me than my brain is willing to give right now. I had a much easier time with Wuthering Heights. This is possibly one of my like surprising favorites of the year. I had a time with this book. So what's this? What did I get on the book? Ugh. It looks like blood. It's not blood, so it must be like ink of some sort. Where would that be from? Oh no, it is blood actually. It's the fake blood that I used for my Sinners vlog and the Sinners pictures I posted for Halloween. Maybe I'll insert a few here because the vlog isn't up yet. It's just I can wipe that off easily. I just didn't know it was there. No, that shouldn't be it because I didn't read that then. Maybe it was on one of the other books that I had in the this was. Let's move on. It's been too long. So next is a book that caught my eye as soon as I walked into the bookstore. I never heard of it before, but it just looked really intriguing, and then reading it, it also sounds really intriguing, and it's Sour Cherry by Natalia Theodoridou. This one, I believe, is sort of like a horror book, and it reminded me very much of like a Rosemary's Baby type situation. It says the tale begins with Agnes. After losing her baby, Agnes is called to the great manor house to nurse the local lord's baby boy, but something's wrong with the child. His nails grow too fast, his skin smells of soil, and his eyes remind her of the dark forest. As he grows into a boy, then into a man, a plague seems to follow him everywhere. Trees wither at the roots, fruits rot on their branches, and the town turns against him. The man takes a wife who bears him a son, but tragedy strikes in cycles, and his family is forced to consider their own malignancy, until wife after wife, death after death, plague after plague. Every woman he touches becomes a ghost. The ghosts become a chorus, and they call urgently to our narrator as she tries to explain in our very real world exactly what has happened to her. The ghosts can all agree on one thing: an inescapable truth about this man, this powerful lord who has loved them and led them each to ruin. If you leave, you die, but if you die, you stay. Natalia Theodoridou's haunting and unforgettable debut novel, Sour Cherry, confronts age-old systems of gender and power, long-held excuses made for bad men, and the complicated reasons we stay captive to the monsters we love. This kind of feels like what happens after Rosemary's Baby grows up. So I need to write this down to make this one of my priority reads going into 2026. Okay, next we have another book I have already read, and actually it was my it's like the most recent book I finished. Lost Souls Meet Under a Full Moon by Mizuki Sugimura, translated by Yuki Tajima from Japanese. One of my goals for the year, I wanted to start reading more translated fiction, translated works, and or works published, originally published like outside of North America. This is, I think I got this and Sour Cherry on the same trip to the bookstore. I had just recently discovered it, and I believe it had just been released from re-release, I guess, from an American publishing house. Anyway, this book essentially follows he's called the go-between. Follows Ayumi, who is this like 17-year-old who has the ability to connect the living with the deceased. And this follows, I think, 4 people and their experience. Each chapter follows a different person and their meeting under a full moon. Each meeting, it works best under the full moon. That's kind of like when I believe it's when the veil is like the thinnest or something. But the thing is, if the deceased person who you want to communicate with agrees, that's your one shot. You will afterwards no longer be able to ever do this again. Same goes for the person who you end up meeting with. This is their last chance, their last moment communicating with the living. And essentially, I guess it covers like grief and closure mostly, and I enjoyed this book. The last chapter I particularly enjoyed like the final chapter on, and when you get more understanding of this service. A lot of these characters are really insufferable. And I'm just like, can one of these people just be a decent person, you know? But yeah, I love this cover. I think it's beautiful. There is a sequel to this book I've discovered upon finishing that I do absolutely intend to pick up. This is also the author of Lonely Castle, Only Something in the Mirror, which is a popular book that I've seen talked about a lot. So eventually I will probably pick that up too. I did enjoy the writing. Alrighty, so next we're gonna get into the books that I got for my Sinners reading vlog, which was quite a journey and honestly a little bit traumatic, but that's fine. First was Buffalo Hunter by Stephen Graham Jones. This is an indigenous vampire story. For the longest time I kept describing it as like an indigenous vampire hunter story. Not the case, isn't it? This is kind of like told in, is it like epistolary format? This is told through like journal entries. In the beginning we're following this woman who is writing a paper, like a thesis or an essay or something, and she's using these found journals of her greatest grandfather, as she refers to him, who was a Protestant Lutheran. He's a Lutheran pastor in 1912. And it says this chilling historical novel is set in the nascent days of the state of Montana, following a Blackfeet Indian named Goodstab as he haunts the fields of the Blackfeet Nation looking for justice. It begins when a diary written in 1912 by a Lutheran pastor is discovered within a wall in 2012. What is unveiled is a slow massacre, a nearly forgotten chain of events that goes back to 217 Blackfeet dead in the snow, told in the transcribed interviews with Goodstab, interviews within the diary, who shares the narrative of his peculiar and unnaturally long life over a series of confessional visits. This is an American Indian revenge story, period, captured in the vivid voices of the time by one of the new masters of literary horror, Stephen Graham Jones. This is my second Stephen Graham Jones book now, and I'm still unsure. of the relationship between me and Stephen Graham Jones, because objectively these books are very good, but there's something about the writing style that I really struggled to connect with. What really helped me get through this book was the audiobook that I read simultaneously with reading physically, and I do absolutely recommend that. Or if you have to choose, I recommend the audiobook. The audiobook is excellent, and it is narrated by 3 actors for each of like the main characters or POVs that we're following. Like objectively, this is a very good book. I did really start getting into it the last like quarter of the book, when things were starting to be tied up and I really like saw where the story was going. That's when I got invested. But I want to love Stephen Graham Jones. I want to gush over Stephen Graham Jones, and on one hand I do, because like I can see like the premises are always so good, and I'm always here for an indigenous revenge story, American Indian revenge story. I absolutely give it to me. But there's a disconnect that I'm still working on getting around, honestly, but do love this cover. I also have Fledgling by Octavia E. Butler, which is smudged in fake blood, so maybe that's what got on Wuthering Heights. This is another vampire story. This one follows Shuri, who wakes up with absolutely no memory, no recollection. She wakes up in this cave with just a full body need to feed. We discover later while she presents as like this very small child, like maybe 10 at most, she is a 52-year-old vampire, 53-year-old vampire, and she's the lost child of an ancient species that is driven by blood and lives in dark symbiosis with humanity. And this is basically, we follow her piecing together essentially what has happened to her, what has happened to her family, and trying to figure out who's after her, who's trying to destroy her, and why, while also building her own, I guess, family of sorts around her to provide what she needs to be a functioning vampire, or Ina, I believe that's what they're called in this book. This one wasn't it for me, and I am devastated because this is also the year that I discovered Octavia Butler, and riding on the high of Parable of the Sower and Parable of the Talents, I just had way too many expectations. They were way too high. I set myself up, honestly. I was expecting to be obsessed with this book, and oh, I have tabbies in here. Need those for later. This also, for that vlog, we have The Ballad of Black Tom by Victor Laval. This one is like a Lovecraftian retelling. It says people move to New York looking for magic, and nothing will convince them it isn't there. Charles Thomas Tester hustles to put food on the table to keep the roof over his father's head, from Harlem to Flushing Meadows to Red Hook. He knows what magic a suit can cast, the invisibility a guitar case can provide, and the curse written on his skin that attracts the eyes of wealthy white folks and their cops. But when he delivers an occult book to a reclusive sorceress in the heart of Queens, Tom opens a door to a deeper realm of magic and earns the attention of things best left sleeping. A storm that might swallow the world is building in Brooklyn. Will Black Tom live to see it break? This is a teeny tiny little novella, but I really enjoyed it for what it is. Like I said, it's really too short to get too invested, but I had a good time with it. The reviews aren't what's important. This is a haul. Last one that I have from that vlog is one of my favorites that I read. Top two, tied for top two. Do you mind? Favorites from that vlog. And it's Ring Shot by P. Djeli Clark. Another teeny tiny novella. This one is set in a world where the Klan are demons. Like literal demons. They're called Ku Kluxes. They kind of infiltrate society and like the actual Klan. And this follows, what's her name? Maurice, who is a resistance fighter, and her like comrades, and the three of them kill these demons. They hunt and kill these demons, and this is so good. This is so good. I have read 2 P. Djeli Clark works at this point. I'm 2 for 2. Excellent. Swiftly becoming one of my favorite authors. Next we have this giant book, and I finally got The Dragon Republic by R.F. Kuang. This is the second Poppy War book. I've also finally read The Dragon Republic by R.F. Kuang. I don't really want to talk about it right now. So this is a sequel. Can't really tell you much. This is the second Poppy War book. I don't know why it's taken me so long to get this book. I first read the Poppy War like 2 years ago now. Recently listened to the audiobook, did my reread that way so that I can finish the series, because I actually got the Burning God shortly after getting the Poppy War. It was like on like a mega sale at Barnes & Noble, so I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get this, and then I'll worry about book 2 when I get to it, and then I just never got to it. So I can finally finish this series and move on to the rest of R.F. Kuang's library at this point. Okay, another big book, another sequel, and I got Eternal Ruin by Tigges Garma. I was able to go to the launch for this book in New York City. I was able to meet Tigges. She's absolutely lovely. I had a great time listening just to her talk about these characters and this world, and like just what led to Immortal Dark and essentially Eternal Ruin, and whatever the next book is. Very cute little print that I got with it. Can't flash too much, don't want to give away spoilers, but this book is stunning. It's gorgeous, it's beautiful. Like all things ruinous, he came from the abyss. Can't really tell you much about this book either because it's a sequel. Also, I haven't read it, so I don't know what happens in this. But Immortal Dark, hold on, I'll show you the signature. Immortal Dark is a dark academia with vampires, essentially. This follows Keaton Idana, whose sister is missing. She has gone to a lot of lengths to track down who she assumes has kidnapped her sister. She's done a lot of things to get this answer, and now she is going to go to Uxley University, this gloomy university. Gimme. And she is the heir of a house. She is an heir of this like prominent family in this world, and she is going to go inherit her inheritance. The only problem is Susenio Sagad, who is the house. He's a vampire who was tied to her family, and he is refusing to give up his claim on this home, so they're forced to live together. And boy, oh boy, this book, the first book, is bloody, it's violent, it's beautiful. I love it. I'm obsessed with it. If you Tigas refers to them as enemies to question mark, but if you want your enemies to whatever to really be enemies at the start, yeah, Immortal Dark. I'm obsessed. Also, my favorite thing about these books is it is so refreshing to read a black-led, black-centered dark academia book where the conflict is not racism. Next, I got the next 2 books from that trip to New York, and it's the next one is the book that I am also reading right now, another one, and it's Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. I finally got this book. I finally decided I'm going to read this book. Still don't really know much about the book. I'm only on page 47. All I know, lesbian necromancers in space. I feel like that's all I really need to know going into the book. This little blurb down here says lesbian necromancers explore a haunted gothic palace in space. Absolutely. I have another classic, another book that I've recently read. I read it this month. Yeah, I read it this month, and I'm obsessed with it. It's taken me way too long to discover this masterpiece, but I can't stop thinking of it, and it's Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston. This very, very short book has consumed so much of my mind. This is one of the most important works of 20th century American literature. Zora Neale Hurston's beloved 1937 classic, Their Eyes Were Watching God, is an enduring Southern love story sparkling with wit, beauty, and heartfelt wisdom, told in the captivating voice of a woman who refuses to live in sorrow, bitterness, fear, or foolish romantic dreams. It is a story of fair-skinned, fiercely independent Janie Crawford and her evolving selfhood through 3 marriages and a life marked by poverty, trials, and purpose. A true literary wonder, Hurston's masterwork remains as relevant and affecting today as when it was first published. Can attest to that. Perhaps the most widely read and highly regarded novel in the entire canon of African American literature. I've been wanting to read this book for so long, and it's like a weight off my shoulders that I can finally cross that off my list. Okay, speaking of Black authors that I have read for the first time this year and have stamped their place in my heart, I was recently in the bookstore and I was about to leave, and I found a copy of The Good House by Tananarive Due, author of The Reformatory, which I read back in October, and it wrecked me. But this is important to me because I recently, upon reading The Reformatory, I discovered that The Good House has received a cover change. Now I prefer this cover to the new one. Also, it goes with the Reformatories cover. So I was kind of bummed that like I couldn't find it anywhere that wasn't like stupidly expensive. This was the last one on this shelf. And so this was the real splurge of that shopping excursion, because I was about to leave, and so I spent way too much money, additional money, just because I wasn't leaving without this book. But it's worth it. I'm glad I have it. I don't know what I'm going to read it because I'm still recovering from the Reformatory. Oh my god, this font is tiny. I don't really know what this book's about, but I know it's going to hurt me. It says the home that belonged to Angela Toussaint's late grandmother is so beloved that townspeople in Sacagawea, Washington call it the good house. But that all changes one summer when an unexpected tragedy takes place behind its closed doors, and the Toussaint's family history and future is dramatically transformed. Angela has not returned to the good house since her son Corey died there 2 years ago, but now Angela is finally ready to return to her hometown and go beyond the grave to unearth the truth about Corey's death. Could it be related to a terrifying entity Angela's grandmother battled 7 decades ago? And what about the other senseless calamities that Sacagawea has seen in recent years? Has Angela's grandmother, an African-American woman reputed to have powers, put a curse on the entire community? Ooh. A thrilling exploration of secrets, lies, and divine inspiration. The Good House will haunt readers long after its chilling conclusion. I believe that, because the Reformatory is certainly haunting me. Yet another classic. I have If Beale Street Could Talk by James Baldwin. I read my first James Baldwin last December, actually, and wanted to make this year my second go-to for 2 with my Baldwins in December. I don't think that's going to happen this year, unfortunately, but I will be putting this high on my TBR for January. Like my copy of Giovanni's Room, I don't remember if I mentioned that's the book that I read last year. I have the what's it called, Vintage International, yeah, edition. I love these covers, these like painted portraits of James Baldwin. I'm obsessed, and I can't wait to have all of them on my shelves. I don't really know much about this book. I did see the movie adaptation ages ago, and all I really remember is like it follows this couple. I believe someone's having a baby. Someone is like falsely accused of something and is arrested, and it's like following like the family around that or something like that. I could be absolutely making that up, but I'm excited to read this. I'm disappointed, honestly, that I'm probably not going to get around to it this before December's over. I'm talking so fast, I'm sorry. I only have so much space left on my memory card. I probably should have chosen this one over Gideon, but it is what it is. So the same day that I got the last 2 books, I hopped into Home Goods, which is right next to my closest Barnes and Noble. The Home Goods, the TJ Maxx's, those girlies like always have have books in the store now. And I found this beautiful edition of Wuthering Heights, and I love it, and it was not that expensive. And like I said, I really loved Wuthering Heights. I also just like really like buying classics for my shelf. I feel like I can't wait when I have my shelves to just have a collection of like gorgeous editions of classics, whether or not I enjoy the book themselves. Jane Austen. My mom also talked me into this. She was like, oh yeah, you have to get it. I love Wuthering Heights. I was like, I was not aware that you read Wuthering Heights. And she was like, no, I meant the movie. Regardless, I have this, and I need to find the matching edition of Jane Eyre. I did find it online, so I have to remember where I found it and then order it. Speaking of beautiful special editions, LitJoy has been like dropping these beautiful collector's editions of like classic books. And last month, I think, I saw that they were dropping a collector's edition of one of my favorite books of all time, so obviously I had to get it. And it's The Two Princesses of Bramar by Gail Carson Levine. I've mentioned this many times, that this is like my OG It's my OG. I, to this day, consider this book one of my favorite books of all time. It has influenced a lot of my writing, a lot of my like reading preferences, like fantasy wise. It has, I will say it's influenced me as a writer, because at the time that I was like initially reading this, like the copycatism was a thing. I was like 12. It's fine, but it like kept me writing. Anyway, I often say that this is like the OG Hunger Games, where this, aside from the Hunger Games, this is the book I've read most in my life. When between middle and high school, when I couldn't think of something else to read, I would pick this book back up. I adore it. It follows two sisters. There's like a plague cursing their land. I think, I'm not sure if this is a spoiler, so I'm sorry if it is. One of the sisters falls ill, and it's up to the other one to like go on this quest to find a cure. And I've always just loved this story so much, and these sisters, Meryl and Annie. I've been saying for a while now I want to do a reread. I want to do a whole video dedicated to like my childhood, like preteen favorites, so I'll probably read this then. There also, I think it's sold out now, was an edition of Ella Enchanted, which I do want. I have not read Ella. I love the movie though. Now I'm sounding like my mom, but hopefully they'll do more of those because I do want that. Continuing with just gorgeous books, I have Dawn of the Firebird by Sarah Mughal Rana. This was one of my most anticipated reads of releases of 2025. This is described as like a villain origin story. It follows the daughter of this like deposed emperor, and she like infiltrates this military school, I believe. It's like a story of like vengeance, and I think there's like martial arts involved, war, politics, that whole thing. It's like pitched to fans of like Saba Tahir, R.F. Kuang. It has me written all over it. And also this is just stunning. Look at this. I made a point, because initially I was just going to pick it up when I picked it up, but the author had posted about it going into its like second printing, and the second printing wouldn't have like the stunning spray edges, so I'm like, well, now I gotta order it. So here we are. I want a Goodreads giveaway. I just enter those things just to enter those things. I never expect to win anything, but I want a copy of The King Must Die by Kimi Ashing-giwa. Don't remember what this is about. Finn's world is dying. Once a promising planet gifted by the all-powerful alien makers, failed terraforming has left New Earth, Jesus, a withered husk. Ever since her parents' failed rebellion against the ruthless sovereign, Finn has been forced to serve as a bodyguard for a cunning magistrate. But when her long-imprisoned fathers are executed and Finn is marked for the same fate, she is forced to flee. Armed with only a map and her quarterstaff, Finn seeks out the remnants of the rebellion army. Unfortunately, the insurgents she finds are nearly as much of a threat to themselves as the Imperial forces. Then she stumbles upon Alakai, the sovereign heir, a master manipulator with a dangerous secret. Though he embodies everything Finn despises, she will do anything, even work with him, to give New Earth one last chance at survival. Another discovery at, this one was at TJ Maxx. I found One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns by Rachel Gillig. I've heard so many things about these books. I've been meaning to get around to them forever. One of my anticipated releases this year was The Night and the Moth. Is that Rachel Gillig? I don't know which one I'll get around to first. I assumed that I would read that first and then go back to read these. Who knows? A lot of people say this one is better than this one, but they were like $7.99 and $9.99 in TJ Maxx, so of course I picked them up. I don't know what these are about. I'm gonna be so real. Elsbeth needs a monster. The monster might be her. Period. Elsbeth Spindle needs more than luck to stay safe in the eerie, mislocked kingdom of Blunder. She needs a monster. She calls him the Nightmare, an ancient mercurial spirit trapped in her head. He protects her. He keeps her secrets. Is this like Your Monster with what's her name? Melissa Barrera. That's what that feels like. But nothing comes for free, especially magic. When Elsbeth meets a mysterious highwayman on the forest road, her life takes a drastic turn. Thrust into a world of shadow and deception, she joins a dangerous quest to cure Blunder of the dark magic infecting it. Except the highwayman just so happens to be the king's own nephew, captain of the most dangerous men in Blunder, and guilty of high treason. Into it. And obviously the sequel, I'm not going to spoil anything for myself by looking at the back of that, but you know, we love to see it. Last but not least, I'm going to try to do this so fast. I received an ARC from Penguin Teen, so thank you so much. I've not been arcing the way I used to. I've been off my game, but this is the right one, I think, for my comeback. And it's The Secret World of Briar Rose by Cindy Pham, our very own Reads with Cindy over here on the tube. I am so excited. I have been following Cindy since the very beginning of her channel, so I've been here for the entire journey of getting to this point. So I am proud. Like, we are IRL friends. In my head we are. It's fine. This one is like sort of like Sleeping Beauty retelling of sorts. Is inspired by Sleeping Beauty. It says a lush and immersive queer Sleeping Beauty retelling about escapism, grief, and dreaming of a better world, as imagined by YouTube star Cindy Pham. I love that for her. 100 years have passed since the last era of Gildan fell into eternal slumber and doomed the once mighty kingdom to poverty and invasion. At least that's what the fairy tale claims. Corin is a jaded thief who doesn't believe in fables, even when she searches Gildan's underground tunnels for her younger sister Ellie, who ran away, to find the sleeping princess in hope of a better life. Corin's conviction is challenged when she discovers the ruins of the ancient castle, maintained by beings from the kingdom's golden age, who protect a hidden portal into Princess Amelia's subconscious. Following Ellie's voice, Corin jumps in the portal and seals the entry behind her. Inside the lush world of Amelia's dreams, the sisters reunite for a new adventure as they meet Briar Rose, Amelia's whimsical alter ego, and Malicene, a sharp-tongued demon with a gift for magic. But as they explore ice castles, sunflower mazes, and star-filled oceans, Corin suspects Briar Rose is hiding darker secrets behind her perfect paradise, and that there are some things her subconscious can't bury forever. This book comes out in June of 2026, and I'm so excited and thankful to have my hands on it. This cover, beautiful. So let me wrap this up. I have like 2 minutes before this gives up on me. Thank you so much for going through this stack of books. I can finally put a lot of these away. The ones that I've already read, I can pack those away in storage where all of my books are right now. And also I can go continue reading Gideon the Ninth right now. So thank you for being here. Let me know down below if you have read any of these, what your thoughts are of them. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you like me, feel free to subscribe. You can also read my short story, holiday short story. It's going to be after the holidays when this comes up, but who cares, on Substack. That is linked below. All my places are down below so you can follow me, and I'll follow you back, and I'll see you very soon. Bye.